women. Am I right, chat? But not only women, thick women. How's that make you feel? Warm and fuzzy. A lot of ayayagasm. They're throwing a little tantrum because they're so beautiful. TOS. What you want to do is a little TOS, real. Praying, thanking the Lord, thanking Allah for blessing us with thick women. I feel the same. But someone doesn't feel the same. And that man is Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson not only does not like thick women, Jordan Peterson is scared of thick women. And he will let the world know that he is very upset that thick women exist. And he is sick and tired of them. It's very odd, seeing as that I didn't stream yesterday. And the reason for why I didn't stream yesterday is because I was searching. I was looking high and low. I searched my entire town. I drove across the state. I did a couple of, I made a couple of international calls even. I got Xi Jinping on the phone. I was able to tap into the entire Chinese government surveillance base to figure out like who asked. And the wild thing is, through all of my searching, through all of the 9 realms, I did not find a single person who asked. It's wild. Now you may be wondering, what is this all about? Now, let me show you something, okay? A couple of weeks ago, this cover dropped. It's a swimsuit cover from Sports Illustrated, okay? Which features what we in the business call a thick woman. Yep, I mean, this is a woman, and she is indeed wearing a swimsuit. You know, perfectly fine. She's insanely pretty. She is very pretty as well. She is. If you just don't like thicker women, like, okay, nobody cares. Ain't nobody asked. But Jordan still decided that he was going to chime in and just say, sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that. Genuinely mind-blowing, insane shit. Coming from Jordan here. I actually genuinely, it's been weeks and I think about this every now and again and I don't necessarily know what he's talking about. I don't know, man. Maybe he like hasn't woken up from his coma after he went into one after drinking apple cider vinegar. Maybe he's just been like sleepwalking and his like daughter's been puppeting him around ever since and he's just still dead. Maybe he's dead. I don't know. And this is just his daughter tweeting because she's angry that she isn't as thick. Something along those lines. All I gotta say, a lot of women do a lot of attacking other women. I see it a lot. I have a lot of women in my family. I have a lot of women friends. I know women be attacking women very often. And so like, here's my thing, okay? Listen, if you're just not as thick, that's fine. You don't have to have a lot of schmeat on you. You can just be a normal human being. There's no, you could just like love yourself, okay? Have you ever heard of just like loving yourself? Like you don't have to tear another person down to like bring yourself up, okay? And I think what I can imagine is what he means by authoritarian tolerance is that people don't think that it's very nice that you bully someone about like the way that they look, and they'll like get on you if you bully somebody about the way that they look. And that's like basically it, right? And to him, that's authoritarian because he's not allowed to say whatever he wants to say without somebody just disagreeing. But you know, here's a really wild thing is that nobody asked him to chime in. Not a single person was like, oh, Jordan, I need your opinion on this woman in a swimsuit. Nobody asked. Sports Illustrated didn't ask. Nobody asked. And House on Pecker even ratioed this bitch pretty hard too. Sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that. She new emo just dropped. Well, crying Peterson. He looks awful. He does look awful. Yeah. I don't think the model has to invest in a new swimsuit that's more covering. I think Jordan should just invest in some braces. But anyways, I think JP's on drugs. I also think that he's on drugs or just scared of thick women. This woman is cute. She is pretty. Look at her. Look at her go. She genuinely looks good. You know what? She looks like a smaller version of the fertility statue. You know the one with the like ancient like fertile crescent statue that they found of a thick woman. Yeah, the Venus. She don't look bad. She's just a bigger woman. And here's the wild thing, okay, that you may not get. For her body type, she may not even be carrying that much cellulite. It's a very weird thing to imagine, but like even with her body type, she may not be carrying that much cellulite. She genuinely may not. Depending on like the size of her like rib cage and the size of her hips, she could just like look like that. She could just be just very pear-shaped, and she could like go on any workout program that you want, getting down to like a really small, you're not going to change like your skeleton by working out. No matter, like, that's not going to change anything. Just like you like getting on the treadmill isn't going to make you 5'11", bud. It's not going to happen. Okay. Love you. Many hugs and kisses. There's no amount of times you can pull yourself up on the chin up bar, on like a pull-up bar, and do a bunch of chin ups that's going to make you any taller. It's not going to happen. Okay. You're not going to fix your spine by going to the gym, and you're not going to fix your like hip to waist ratio by going to the gym necessarily. Without getting to an unhealthy weight. Women just have to carry around more fat. Like, they just do. That's just like how the world is for our women. And so this woman, I don't even think, she doesn't even look like she's carrying that much cellulite, really, genuinely. Like, if she like got really into it and got like as far down as possible on like the body fat index, which is dangerous for women, just so you know, she'd probably wouldn't look too much different. She really might not. But that doesn't stop people like Peterson, who decided to absolutely throw a complete hissy fit about this. And not only did he do this, he also, shortly after this, he quit Twitter because of the backlash that he got. So not only did this girl ratio him on Twitter, she also bodied him on TikTok, which is wild.
I mean, I don't even know why you girls bother at this point. Like, keep it up.
I think she's very pretty. That apparently was a diagram to show women what they look like when they get pregnant. That's really funny. And there are a lot of people who are like attracted in like a you know, maternal, like a paternal way to
this meme is very real.
To pregnant women, you know? I mean, and even being pregnant can be beautiful. I mean, look at Rihanna. She won't stop posting her baby belly. Pringent. She do be a little pringent. It's true. She do be a tiny bit pringent. You know, it just kind of be that way. And I love how he just throws around the term authoritarian. Like, oh yeah, dude. Authoritarianism is when you do things that I don't like and you don't like me when I respond. And so after he made this tweet, and after literally everyone laughed at him about it, he made this like tweet thread, which is, I recently stopped accessing Twitter for 3 weeks as an experiment. I had some of my staff post video links and etc. It was genuinely a relief. I started to read and write more. He's like, oh my gosh, the endless flood of vicious insults is really not something that can be experienced anywhere else. I like to follow the people I know, but I think the incentive structure of this platform makes it intrinsically and dangerously insane. Dog, you randomly called a woman ugly. What are you talking about? Yeah, because I left Twitter and I remembered how to write. What are you talking about? Nobody asked you to hop in. Nobody asked you to do anything. Just out of nowhere, he's gonna be like, and the vicious flood of constant insults after I insulted somebody for no reason is just too much to bear. Like, dog, shut up. Shut up. I told my staff to change my password to keep me from temptation. Dog, how are you? Do you have a problem? Do you have an issue? Maybe you need to see a therapist. If you actually genuinely need a Twitter handler to control your Twitter account for you because you do not have the strength to just turn off the Bird app, dog, you need to go to a doctor. This is a lol scenario. I needed to give my staff my login. This shit's insane. Anyways, just if you were just wondering, if you were thinking to yourself, man, he really can't stop thinking about this shit. He's made more. He went on a podcast with his daughter, Michaela Peterson, him as Jordan Peterson. And apparently he decided to come here dressed as like a 1950s Batman villain. And he's going to talk about how mean the internet was to him about his very normal thick woman tweet from about a month ago.
Weeks ago, you tweeted something out that, I'm gonna bring it up, that got a crazy...
Is he scared? He's like, I can't talk about this right now. The thick women are gonna come for me.
The amount of attention, which... Did it...
Sports Illustrated, swimsuit edition, I believe you're referring to.
Yes.
I tweeted out, sorry, not beautiful. Yeah, people weren't very happy with that.
And then everyone got upset.
Yes, they did. And then I left Twitter again, more or less, right after that. And everyone assumed that was why. And it wasn't.
No.
It was
It actually, then right after I made that crazy tweet and everybody started making fun of me and calling me a loser, I left Twitter again. But it definitely wasn't because of like the endless stream of insults that I complain about. It actually was for different reasons. I'm not mad. I wasn't mad. Don't put in the newspaper that I was mad. I'm never mad. I wasn't mad.
I suppose in some sense it was, because what happened
was an
indication.
I love it.
Yeah, well, it was like sort of like standing in a public park where anybody, no matter who they were, could come up and yell at you to any size audience about anything they wanted, day or night.
You mean like this? You mean like this? You mean like just like this? When out of nowhere, out of the blue, like, because this was uploaded the same day, 2 hours after this post was made, you decided to write this tweet for no reason whatsoever. And then just like refuse to elaborate and then just walk away. Like, come on. This is like, oh, anybody could just show up to the park and say whatever you want. You showed up to the park with you're right, with a megaphone, and you stood on a box and you started yelling at people and then calling them names while they're walking by. Nobody did this but you. Like, I can't even imagine this sort of like cry bully bullshit where you call out somebody, you give them insults, other people call you lame, and then you cry about it. Come on. He's 60 and he's acting like he's 16.
No, I looked at the Sports Illustrated cover and they had a rather overweight young woman, quite symmetrical, so nice facial features and so forth.
What the fuck is happening? Hello? Did he like analyze this woman? What the hell? How long was he looking at that picture? This is so odd. Remember like in the beginning how he was like, oh, I think it's that like Sports Illustrated thing that you were talking about. Like he barely remembers. And then he's like, very thick woman. Oh yes, incredibly symmetrical. Wide birthing hips. I remember. The thighs, voluptuous. Her buxom, in great condition. Her face. She was quite beautiful, if I may say. She looked quite delectable. Her hair was fabulous. But that wasn't enough. Like, are you okay, dog? It's weird as fuck. He calls her ugly, but then goes to analyze her. It's just weird. Hello, girl. You look very symmetrical today. Would you mind backing it up on me?
With a very revealing swimsuit on the cover. And I thought,
revealing swimsuit? It's a swimsuit. What the heck? This is a revealing swimsuit? It's just a swimsuit. This is actually one of the least revealing swimsuits. Look at all this fabric. You don't like swimsuits usually don't even have this. Your average swimsuit doesn't have this much fabric, just so you know. It's
unbelievably manipulative for about 3 different reasons. The first is it's a very tawdry attempt to capitalize on cheap sales. And I mean cheap in a specific way. Sports Illustrated hit the gold mine with their swimsuit cover, I suppose 20 years ago, whenever they established that. Because it was obviously it's a sports magazine, so it's about athletics. It's about athletic people. It's about athletic bodies. And they had a swimsuit issue, and it really was a big hit. And then it became kind of a cultural icon. And it's a very specific kind of cultural icon because it focuses on a very exceptional kind of high-end beauty. Mm-hmm. And so that beauty would involve symmetry and signals of youth, because that's part of beauty, sexual beauty, physical beauty.
Did this guy just call his wife ugly? You know, you could be beautiful and not young. Like signals of youth isn't like the only thing. I saw her and she had everything. Symmetrical face. Young woman. Very young.
Waist to hip ratio for women. But with Sports Illustrated, it's also
I was memeing before.
Highlighting a kind of athleticism in body type. And that's a very specific form of beauty. You have to be.
Not all the time. Not really, genuinely not all the time. There are Sports Illustrated covers with people with body types that just aren't that just like don't work. And here's the thing, once again, like especially for some women, you can go to the gym all you want. You just won't have you won't get like a super slim. A lot of them just won't get a super slim body type. You just won't, unless you want to have the doctors replace your pelvis. Like you're not gonna get a different body type. Your hips can just be wide, and that's just it. And you're like your bust could just be pretty big, and that just means that you're not going to be a great runner. But how do you know that this person doesn't play volleyball or something? How do you know that they may not just like swimming? How do you know if they don't play like golf as well? What crazy body type do you need to play golf? You do not need to be some a yoked up Giga Chad to play golf. dog. Unhealthy people don't play golf. And I'm not saying that this woman was unhealthy. Like, I don't know. I'm not her doctor. It's wild.
Be young. You have to be female, generally. You have to be extremely athletic. You have to be shapely in a very particular way. And that would be with a waist to hip ratio of 0.68, because that's what's been established cross-culturally as ideal from the perspective of male sexual interest, let's say. But
I'm sorry. This guy's such a fucking nerd. Also, just so you know, there have been pregnant women on Sports Illustrated. And like, there's Kim Kardashian who's on Sports Illustrated. Just so you know, Kim Kardashian, she's like fit, but she doesn't have like a sports body type. She doesn't. She ain't got a sports body type. She's also thick. Okay, like it's just like she wouldn't be good at playing sports. You know, like I don't think that she'd be a very good runner. I highly doubt that she'd be very good at like playing volleyball or like swimming or something. That's an exaggeration. I don't think that's an exaggeration. Like you could be very you can take a look at like some of like the top female athletes. They don't have Kim Kardashian's body type. And here's the thing, like that's okay. Cause Sports Illustrated isn't only just about like you being about like the best like sports players. And the thing is, like a lot of these women who are on Sports Illustrated aren't even sports players. A lot of them are just models. A lot of models are pretty shit at, you know, sports. Sorry. Like I don't know, like life just be that way, partner. And I think it's really great that like Sports Illustrated is getting a wild cast of like body types. You know, here's are there any tits in here? Wait, is there any side boob? Wait, guys, does anybody remember like the Twitch breast no-go zone? I think like the Twitch titty no-go zone, it's like under breast and outward side boob, right? Under boob and like side boob, that's like, you can't show that, right? Remember the pregnant woman who qualified for the Olympics? That shit's wild. You're TOSing the stream? I was gonna show you this because it had like 3 different body types: a very skinny woman, a voluptuous woman, and like kind of like a in the middle woman. But the thicker one, she has some side boob showing, and I'm like quite sure that I can't show that. Because I'm pretty sure you can't show side boob and you can't show under boob. Like the outside side. The inside side boob, that's okay. Blur it, that's too much work. You guys can just imagine what a thick woman looks like, and there you go.
And it's focused on a very idealized and specific form of beauty. And that's obviously exclusionary. It's obviously exclusionary. It excludes everyone. Mm-hmm. Right. And it does that to highlight a kind of ideal, and that's a particular ideal of beauty. And there are some cultural boundaries around that. So you could say, well, it's a westernized form of beauty. It's like, yeah. And you can point to Rubens' paintings of more plump women and say, well, there's an exception. It's like, great. You think you're a genius for finding that exception. Good for you. You know the Rubens painting. Like, more power to you. But that doesn't mean anything at all about the universality of images of beauty. And so the cover bothered me a lot because it was a cheap manipulation of something that had been.
And here's the thing. He's like, oh yeah, this is like a standard of beauty, and sure, like it deviates, but like this is my standard. This is the standard of beauty. I don't know. How do you like square this circle, dog? Like, how can you be like, oh, you can't? Yeah, there are exceptions. Like, sure, but like, is it really a rule? Like, is it really? Like, we can talk about what most people would probably find attractive, but is what we're trying to do like find the most attractive person every single time? Or do you think that Sports Illustrated could just think it's nice to break those boundaries sometimes? Don't you think it's just nice to be like, hey, you know, just because they're not like what society typically thinks of as beautiful doesn't mean they're not. Let's find a beautiful person. Let's put them on. If Sports Illustrated goal, like, because he's like thinking of like, he's thinking really deep about this. If Sports Illustrated's goal is to just put beautiful people on the cover and put them in like very little clothing, then they did a perfectly fine job with the one that we're looking at right now. Like, a lot of people think that she was beautiful and she was in a bikini. That's basically it. I'm sorry that you didn't think that she was cute. Nobody cares.
Very well for Sports Illustrated. It was also an insistence that all of a sudden this non-athletic body type is as beautiful as the standard swimsuit model for Sports Illustrated. And it's not. It's not as athletic, and it's not as healthy. And that's that. And it's also not arbitrary. And so the whole thing is a lie.
Okay, for one, you don't know if it's as healthy. You don't know how much cellulite that woman's carrying. You don't know what. Here, let me tell you this right now, okay? Because this proves that Jordan has like no clue what he's talking about when it pertains to women, which isn't surprising. But Here's one thing. You have no clue how healthy a person is just by looking at them. You have no clue. A lot of people would say like somebody like a sumo, if you take like a sumo wrestler type big person and then like a really skinny person, and a lot of people would go, oh, like, yeah, like the really skinny person's the more like healthy person. You have no clue. That skinny person could just be eating cupcakes and Pizza Hut every single day and drinking 3 liters of Coke, but they just have the type of metabolism where they don't gain any weight. But this person has fucking clotted arteries and has like an expiration date by the time they're 25. Okay, you have no clue how healthy this person is. And someone like a sumo wrestler could ingest a lot of calories but also do way more workouts than any normal human being typically does. You have no clue how healthy somebody is just by looking at them. It makes literally no sense. So if we just take a look at like just your average woman who's on the cover of Sports Illustrated, you have no clue if they're any healthier than that woman. And honestly, when we go over like the sort of like Hollywood diets and like supermodel diets and lifestyles that these people go through, they're like running on caffeine, they're constantly dehydrated, they die like relatively early compared to a lot of other people in the general public who sit in a cubicle for 8 hours a day, right? Like, you have no clue how healthy these people are. You having a flat stomach does not mean that you're going to live longer than somebody who's carrying a little bit extra weight. Yeah, you got no clue. Oh, and once again, health and beauty aren't like the same things. They're not like the same thing. Like, because, and you know that for a fact, because a lot of the things that we call like beautiful or like attractive are not healthy, especially when it comes to sort of like workout routines that a lot of people try and keep up with to keep a certain body type that isn't like sustainable. Like those like bodybuilder type body types that's like the pinnacle of like masculinity or something. You can't keep that. You can't hold that. Or like women with like abs. Your average person can't hold abs. With like really defined abs, like the Hawaiian roll abs. Your average person can't hold Hawaiian roll abs. You cannot. Absolutely not. That's so much work. You got it for a week and then it's gone. You got it for a week, you take pictures and then it's gone. It isn't say, unless you're incredibly thin and have a low body fat percentage, which is also pretty difficult to maintain. Stop being weird. Also, stop trying to pretend that you're like a health professional. You're an expired therapist. Chill.
And then it's a lie that's a manipulation of that young woman. Now, she partakes in that because she participates in it, but it's still, they're not on her side. They're exploiting her, as far as I'm concerned. And she may be participating in that exploitation, but they're still exploiting her. So don't pull any moral stunts on me because you're irritated about my opinion about the Sports Illustrated cover when it's...
Oh yeah, yo, I got any thick women in chat who feel manipulated when society tells you that you're beautiful for all that thickness? He is indeed coping and seething right now. Yeah, go outside, touch some grass, stop coping, stop seething. It's not good for you. You know what's not healthy? Huffing all this copium and going back over like weeks long Twitter drama because you're still butthurt that you got ratioed for randomly calling a woman ugly.
And I'm also not willing to sacrifice these ideals for inclusiveness. It's like, no, not everyone's a genius. No, not everyone's Picasso. No, not everyone's young and healthy. And no, not everyone is a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, period.
You know, the crazy thing is that like what debunks Jordan Peterson is sitting in the room with him. Him and his daughter both have crazy health issues, but then like say that they have like, you know, let's say that they're very healthy based on like their diet and like workout routine. Michaela eats raw meat and she has like she's on like a all meat diet. She was on a carnivore diet. Like that shit's insane. That will kill you if you didn't know. You're not a puma. You're not a tiger. You're not a lion. You're a human being, bitch. Yeah, her and Jordan promoted the carnivore diet that will lead to you needing like a quadruple bypass by the time you're 25. Are we sure she isn't a Wendigo? She may indeed be a damn Wendigo. And honestly, I'm not convinced that she ain't. I am not convinced that these guys aren't just all Wendigos in hiding. And then when I go to visit my grandpa's shed 36 miles into the woods one day, then I'm not going to hear her like a pained wail from atop the mountain. And I have to wait until dawn to leave. I'm sorry. Like looking at the diet that these people have, I swear, I know for a fact that these bitches got scurvy. Like the type of diet that these people are bringing up would like bring about the type of diseases that we only saw in like mid English century pirates and like poor kids who only got like 3 servings of porridge a week. And like it's just insanity. Like this man was genuinely in a coma for the type of shit that he ate in Russia. And he's gonna talk, and now he's gonna preach to the mountain about who's healthy and who's not.
I think people have such an issue losing weight.
Yeah,
that society has said, you know what, it's fine because you've had so much trouble that it's probably your genetics. Yeah. So
there's truth in that. Like when I look at someone who's obese,
what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? So society has gotten to the point where we don't want people to work really hard and we just feel bad for them, so we just like give them a pat on the back and tell them they're beautiful just how they are. Oh, come on, dude. Like, can you just be like smart for a second? It's probably your genetics. A lot of how you weigh is your genetics. A lot is your genetics. A whole lot, actually. It is incredibly difficult for some people to lose weight. Incredibly difficult. There's some people. Well, actually, yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna make that claim. But yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of people where it's very, very difficult to lose weight. And maintain the weight as well. Like stress is a big thing, and you know what doesn't help out stress? With fucking weirdo freaks always like randomly commenting on the way that you look. Whenever you decide to like walk outside, you know, that probably doesn't do good things for stress, but it's not like he actually gives a shit about any of this.
Bad mismatch between genetic proclivity and appalling diet. And the appalling diet is basically, we're not going to get into this, but basically carbohydrate heavy and sugar loaded. And fair enough, you know, we tried hard, the whole world, to make calories cheap. Mm-hmm. And we did that. So no one's starving, and great.
Yes, in America, nobody is starving. When I went to Walmart, I saw somebody who fat. No one's starving. Okay, dog. Shut the fuck up. This shit's giga cringe, all right? And one last thing here that I want to show you all. I have an auntie who's an amazing healthy eater and is a vegetarian. Still messed up thyroid. She has a messed up thyroid, so she's still overweight. Yes, you could just have a thyroid issue and you could just still be overweight. Like, just because you eat less and you eat better food does not mean that the carbs that you do take in, your body's not just going to sit on. Sometimes your body just sits on the carbs and it's just incredibly difficult to get rid of. Know what somebody's going through just by looking at them. Case in point, take a look at this weird ass shit. If you thought that I was lying when I said that these bitches are on a carnivore diet, like Jordan Michaela Peterson, our carnivore diet, how to cure depression and disease with meat only. These people are genuinely insane. The only meat that these people need is some more gray matter between their ears because apparently they're missing some. What is this poster? This is a book cover. She wrote a book about just eating meat. And I don't know, maybe she's just like pissed that she's not thick herself. And we're here. It's back again. She's 25, never had a child. I'm 43, have 4 kids. Okay, bitch. Who asked? Who asked? When people say I have to celebrate her body, but I should feel ashamed for showing mine, I realize that society doesn't care about hard work. Who said that you need to feel ashamed about your body? Like, I could say things about your body. I'm not going to. There's no need. Also, like, were you actually, you know what? I take it back. I am going to say something about your body. Is it because you ain't got no ass that you needed to wear a tank top that said Latina AF because nobody could tell just by looking at you? Is that why? Once again, like, that's unfortunate. There is no reason for you to be dunking on this woman who's done nothing to you. Nothing to you. She's gonna sit here and say that her body's been ravaged by being 43 and having 4 kids, but then like this woman's disgusting and doesn't work at all. Like you have no clue. This girl could be in the gym 3-5 days a week doing cardio. You have no clue what her meals look like, what her sleep schedule looks like, what her stress looks like, what her workout schedule looks like. You have no clue about any of this, but you still want to take the time to bash somebody who's done nothing to you. You don't deserve any charity or sympathy. You're just a bad person. I don't know if you've just been, I don't know if this bitch has just been bodied for so much for just being thinner. And once again, like, you can be very cute, incredibly beautiful by being thin as well. Like, there's don't make this seem like, if you're listening to this and you're like a thinner person, especially a thinner girl, and you think that I think that you're like ugly or something because you're thinner. You're not. You can be incredibly beautiful and thin. I mean, like, thin girls, they got they got that cute peach. It's not like big, but it can have a really cute shape to it. Like a really great shape to it. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't, then I know you ain't getting no pussy. But it just be that way. Anyways, what have we learned here today, chat? I think what we've learned here is that there is no reason for you to go out of your way to abuse somebody who has done nothing to you. And if you do, don't spend time crying about it and making it seem like it's everybody else's fault when you could have simply just shut the fuck up and gone on with your life. It's not anybody's fault but your own that you're catching all this heat and you had to like run off Twitter and now you're like all angry. You could have just shut up. It's $0.00. But once again, still, the world proves it every single day that even free is too expensive for some people to buy.